I'd like to call the meeting to order and have the city clerk call the roll.
Mayor Sorrell,
Here.
Assistant Mayor Grasso,
Here.
Councilor Carini,
Here.
Councilor Marchand,
Here.
Councilor Panalakis,
Here.
Councilor Hines,
Here.
Councilor Reynolds,
Here.
Councilor Whitehouse,
Here.
Councilor St. Laurent.
Here.
I'd like to ask everyone to rise for a moment of silent prayer led by Laura Pandalakis, Councilor Pandalakis. She will be doing the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by God Bless America.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America.
Now we're down to a very, very special award tonight, which I'm always pleased to see all the kiddos here. And this is the Portsmouth Girls Softball League champions. And we've got quite a few of them. Of course, we're never going to guess who's clapping, can we? Huh? Okay. John is going to, the city manager is going to start with the girls first. And Laura is going to pass out the T-shirts. These are for the poster.
You ready, runner?
All set.
First honoree is Madeline Hickman Noyes. Come forward. Here. Oh, okay.
Oh, that's fine. Okay.
Eliza Greeley.
There you go.
Tessa Kay.
She wants to shake your hand.
Oh, yes. Good job.
Sydney Tarrin.
Got another missing one? There you go. That's okay.
Christine Brazo.
She isn't here either.
Did you want a pen?
Yeah, they tell her. Yeah.
Christy Barstow.
Do you want to give it to her, Grammy?
Danielle Semprini.
Congratulations, hon. There you go.
Kaylee Maheka. Maheka. I got it. Kathleen McMaster.
We're going to give you the bag.
Oh, no, she's going to give, you got to give her Kathleen because she's not here.
No, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that
we'll
she,
give you
when we get done, right.
Lee Cronin. Lexi Ritchie.
You're welcome. There you go.
Linnea Kay.
Right there. There you go.
And finally, Rosa Greeley. She's a red Sox fan. Thank
Not the pen, I know.
You want to give this to Monroe?
There we go. Congratulations.
And now we have the manager and coaches, manager Eileen Greeley, coach Coach John Ritchie,
All messed up as usual. Too old for this job. Greeley, I've got your proclamation. I mean, your award. Okay, now who was the next one?
John Ritchie.
Oh, as if I didn't know John. There you go, John.
And the last coach, Kevin Semprini.
I know you. You've gotten every gift, so you probably have gotten me. Take care, Kevin. Well, I want to thank all of the students coming tonight, and I want to congratulate you, and we will stand and give you a good hand clap. Now, you don't have to, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You really don't all have to sit here for the meeting. You can leave if you want. Thank you.
I do not have to say.
That was my granddaughter, Crystal.
Now we're down to presentation, donations from various individuals for the new library building fund. Are they here? Please come forward. Go right up to the podium.
Yes, good evening, Mayor Sorrell and City Council members. I'm coming here today as co-chair, together with Jim Horrigan, of a group called the Portsmouth Democratic Friends of the Community. We are a loosely disorganized group of Democrats in town who occasionally come together to support community efforts and projects. And last year we made it our point to support the community radio station getting off the ground, and this year we decided to lend our support to the fundraising effort for the new Portsmouth Library. So allow me please to read a little statement of why we're doing this and what has motivated us to come here today. The Portsmouth Democratic Friends of the Community are pleased to make a collective donation of $1,000 in support of the Portsmouth New Library Campaign Fund. We are a group of local Democrats who believe that support for our community should be a continuing obligation of citizenry. We intend to provide financial and other means of support whenever a community need arises that matches our dreams and hopes for our city. In 2004, our initial effort was to support the launching of the Portsmouth Community Radio Station. We believed that a media outlet owned and operated by local citizens was a basic building block of our democracy. We hold even stronger beliefs about the need for a modern, efficient library building which is accessible to all citizens and provides for extensive stored knowledge. Indeed, we believe that the very quality of life in Portsmouth depends to an important degree on the quality of its library. By making this donation, we wish to express our particular support for the design of the new library building according to the requirements for the LEED certification, Leadership in Efficiency and Engineering Design. By pledging to build according to these criteria, the city will serve as a model for others in regard to good environmental practices. Better yet, the building itself will be more welcoming and user-friendly, while at the same time allowing for lower operating costs compared to conventional buildings. Therefore, our donation is an expression of support for the city's commitment to environmental and energy concerns, as well as its decision to build a new library. We thank the library trustees, Mayor Sorrell, and the City Council for their long, steadfast efforts to make the new library a reality, and wish them well in their fundraising efforts. After making this donation today, we intend to ask our friends and our neighbors to donate to this worthy project and to indicate their support for the LED specifications in future building projects. On behalf of the Portsmouth Democratic Friends of the Community, who are Martha Fuller Clark, Cliff and Jim Horrigan, Charlene Kane, Paul McEachran, George McQuilkin, Sharon Nichols, Robert Padian, Eva and Jim Powers, Chris Serlin, Betsy and George Schultes, and Kathy and Peter Somsich. So if I could just ask those individuals who are here to stand up, who are a part of this group, so everybody sees them. And then I'd like to...
Thank you very, very much. Okay, great. Thank you.
So thank you very much.
We all appreciate you people very, very much. And I would like to mention while I can, while everyone's here, the Library Committee fundraisers, which consists of Mayor Sorrell and former Mayor Foley, have sent out over 900 letters so far, and right now we're working on 300 more. So I really want to give Eileen a lot of credit. She's worked very, very hard. She's done an excellent job. But it's people like you that really encourage us to keep going. Thank you very, very much. You know who wants the money, John. Sorry, John. All right, now we're down to the acceptance of the minutes of the meeting for July 11th, 2005.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. Now we're down to the public comment session. First speaker is Robert E. Padian, 312 Cabot Street in Portsmouth, and he's going to speak on the library. And I don't think I have to tell you, Mr. Padian, when that little sign goes up, 3 minutes. Okay.
This will be very brief. I was one of the minor contributors to what some would say is a paltry amount. We need a lot. And I don't know if it would be legal, but it'd be great if somebody had a tax bill. If you want to complain about the library, kick in a bit first. It's going to happen, and if people quibble about it, it won't happen as well or as soon as we really need it. And I hope everybody who hears about this will think of giving a little bit. And when it's finished, then you can go over and spit at it or kick at it, or just don't go in. But please, I hope everybody will back in a big way getting the money raised to make it a reality and soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bateman. Next speaker is Peter Hackney, 66 Rock Street, and he's going to speak about Pearl Street, the traffic change.
Yes, Mayor. I'm a resident and have a business on Rock Street, and the issue of making Pearl Street a one-way street and preventing parking on both sides recently has come about. As a resident, I wasn't really aware of the 2 previous meetings on this. When building permits happen, they notify most of the residents in the area. Traffic safety is different. I would advocate that the Pearl Street does not change to a one-way street. I would hope that the realization with the letters and the people that are against that they could possibly table this back to the committee and look at it thoroughly. I appreciate your opportunity to speak to this.
Thank you, Peter, very much. The next speaker is Richard, I think that's Rash. Is it Rash? 1507 Islington Street, Pearl Street.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, to the council. I got some information that may help you to make a decision on Pearl Street. I'm retired, but I do work part-time for Robbins Auto Parts, and Robbins has 5 delivery vehicles that make 175 to 200 trips per day from the upper end of Pearl Street by Islington Street. These trucks leave the store from Pearl Street to Islington Street, right or left. They return in on Rock Street beside Davis Tire, around to Robbins parking lot, back on Pearl, pick up the deliveries, and off again. Maybe 10% of the time they will go down Pearl to Hanover Street. If this was to be made one way, you're going to have over 200 trips a day with these delivery trucks, plus the retail customers using Pearl Street and Hanover Street. And anybody that's used Hanover Street, on good days, it's very bad. It's very tight. Wintertime can be almost impossible to get there with the snowbanks moving the cars towards the center. I urge you to table this and send it back to Traffic and Safety for further study. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The last speaker is Jim Anthony, 306 Springbrook Circle, and he's going to speak on Pearl Street too.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I work for Hyman Educational Books at the bottom of Pearl Street. We'd ask that you table this and review it because of the effect it has on our business. Because it definitely restricts our access to the building. It forces us to drop 60 or 80 cars at 5 o'clock at night down on the Bridge Street through Hanover Street and Hill Street. I think probably creates a much bigger public safety issue than Pearl Street does. We thank you for your consideration. We hope that they will consider us and at least invite us to their hearings on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. That ends the public comment session. And now we are down to the approval of grants and donations. Assistant Mayor, would you like to start that?
Yes, would you like these basketed?
I think that would be best.
I'll read them all.
Yes. And the amount.
The donations to the new library building fund. I. Pinsky with $5, Philip Hodgson, $25, Christopher Serlin and Mariella Siani, $25, Reverend Gordon Allen, $25, Dick Seidner, $25, Robert Pavian, $25, James and Judith Ringer, $25, Charlene Kane, $50, Algene and Mary Bailey, $50, Peter Rice and Megan Milne, $90, Paul McCachran, $100, Rex Richards, $100, Citizens Financial Group, $100, Charles de Grandpre, $100, Peterson Engineering, $100, Sharon Nichols, $100, George and Elizabeth Schultes, $100, Eva and James Powers, $100, George C. McKirkin, $100, James Horrigan Trust, $150, Peter Somsich and Kathleen Somsich, $150, Mary Ann and Sarah List, $1,000. And Your Honor, I make a motion that we accept these donations to the new library building fund.
Second.
Good. Yes, Harold?
Your Honor, what is the goal? Is it $3 billion? Is it $500,000? What is the goal? Fundraising.
John?
Well, I think the City Council, at this point, the committee has been working on a goal of, I believe they've been looking at about $500,000 for a goal. I can't speak directly to that. I'm not a member of that committee, but that is what I understand, and that is their goal is $500,000. That's what I understand as their goal. It's something that they'll be working on. The mayor's initiative is just a prelude to a formal activities of a fundraising committee. So I think this gets us started. This is something, again, probably Mary Ann List, along with members of that committee, will probably come before the council soon to kick off a formal part of the campaign.
Well, it hasn't been formally asked out again.
The mayor has initiated, along with the former mayor Eileen Foley a grassroots campaign to try to generate additional funds for the library. The formal setting of a kickoff of a formal committee is in its process and its formation, and that will take place. And their goal will be $500,000.
So with this about 3,400 is plus the addition of $1,000 from the Democratic National Committee, Democratic Local Committee. We have a total, about 30,000 now?
Approximately, I believe. I think the mayor has the numbers. But I think one of the things is, like in anything else the city council has done, Councilor, from park renovations to all kinds of things where citizens, ordinary citizens, have taken the opportunity to participate, and the city has been able to leverage some of those funds. But the idea right now, from the mayor's perspective, and I believe from the former mayor, is to just get a grassroots effort going, and then the formal committee will get going in the fall.
Thank you.
I want you all to know we did lose our biggest fundraiser, who was Alec Hansen. And we started off together, and we had some good contacts, but then he left. And he does that. I don't do that for a living. I know nothing what I'm doing, but it's just coming from my heart. And I certainly could use some of you counselors to help me out. Thank you very much. Okay, who wants to make the motion for...
The motion made and seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. Now we're down to the acceptance of donations to the cemetery committee. Who would like to read them?
I will, Your Honor.
All right,
Thank you, Your
Councilor
Honor.
Whitehouse.
To the cemetery committee, the following: an anonymous donation of $46.36. Another donation of Michael Griffin for $50. Another anonymous donation of $80.20. And another anonymous donation of $87.01. Your Honor, I move to approve and accept the donations to the cemetery committee as listed.
All in favor?
Second.
Oh, aye. Sorry about that. Strong vote. Maybe we should have gotten a second before you read it all, but that's all right, Bill. I'm sorry, my mistake.
No? Oh.
It's all right. It's all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Now we're down to the acceptance of a donation to the Portsmouth Police Honor Guard from the PPRA in the amount of $3,960. What is your wish, Councilor? Who would like to make a motion? Councilor Reynolds, would you like to make that motion? Councilor Reynolds?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was just clarifying for myself so that I can clarify for everyone else who the donation was coming from. I move that we accept the donation to the Portsmouth Police Honor Guard from the Portsmouth Police Reserve Association in the amount of $3,960.
Second.
We have to do our homework here now.
You do.
Everybody should have known. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Okay, now we're down to considerations of resolutions and ordinances. First reading of resolution authorizing a bond issue of up to $950,000. Oh boy, I gave it too much. $950.
No.
Yes. Okay, John, I'm sorry. $950,000 for city improvements for the FY06 Capital Improvement Program. Councilors, which one would like to make the motion? Come on now.
Your Honor,
I'll recommend that
the City Council move to pass first reading and hold a public hearing and adoption of this borrowing resolution at the August 15th City Council meeting.
Second. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. First reading of resolution authorizing the borrowing up to $350,000 through the issue of bonds and notes or the execution of lease purchase agreements for the acquisition of one fire apparatus. Yes.
Madam Mayor, I move to pass first reading and hold a public hearing and adoption of this borrowing resolution at the August 15th City Council meeting.
Do I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Did somebody say opposed? No, okay. Now we're down to first reading of resolution authorizing participation in the state revolving loan program for costs related to 5 water system improvements, participation up to $10,100,000. Councilor John Hines, would you like to make that motion?
Thank you, Your Honor. The resolution is to raise $3 million for the Maplewood Avenue water line replacement, raise $2 million for the Greenland well replacement and system pressure improvements, $2 million for the water source augmentation, $1,100,000 for the Madbury water treatment plant, the raw water management, and $2 million for the Madbury water treatment plant design phase, the total of which is $10,100,000, and I move that we pass this issue.
Did I get a second?
Second.
All ready for the vote?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
it's just important that tonight we're moving to pass first reading and hold a public hearing and adoption of this borrowing resolution.
August 15th, right. All right.
Councilor Wolf.
We ready for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Third and final reading of amendment to Chapter 7, Vehicles, Traffic Parking, Omnibus Parking Ordinance, April 16th, 2004 to June 14th, 2005. What's your wish, councilors? Councilor Farini?
We'll recommend the City Council move to pass the third and final reading of the amended ordinance as submitted.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Now we're down to,
Third and
yeah,
final.
third and final. I was just looking at that sentence. Third and final reading of ordinance, amending Chapter 7, Article 3, Section 7, period 336 one-way street by the addition of Pearl Street, northerly, from Islington Street to Hanover Street. Your
Madam
Honor?
Mayor, I would like to ask that this be tabled and returned to Traffic and Safety for another public hearing
And a report back.
and a report back.
Very good. Do I get a second?
Second.
Uh,
I speak on that, Your Honor.
you want to speak on it? Okay. Councilor Whitehouse and then Councilor St. Laurent.
You'll remember at our last city council meeting, I questioned this issue. I don't know who was on site from Traffic and Safety, but they certainly didn't do a very good PR job. I questioned some of the residents down there, never heard from them. They missed the legal notice in the paper, and you'll notice in several letters that they submitted to us to hold off on third and final reading. They did admit that they knew nothing about it. So all I've got to say is I hope on site, please contact the people that it's going to involve, because not everybody sees the legal notice, not everybody reads the articles in the paper, not everybody sees the agenda for an upcoming city council meeting.
City manager would like to speak to that.
And I think I just want to make mention that the Traffic and Safety Committee is made up of volunteers, hard workers, and, one of the things I would like to comment here is the system did work. We have 3 readings. City Council received the input from the public, and they're doing what the system's set up to do, to send it back to this committee. So I think that, the Traffic and Safety Committee has multiple things that come before them on a regular basis, many of which require real quick action because of going to planning boards and other land use agencies. They have, because of the amount of activity in the city, they're working very hard, and I know that John, as chair, they're constantly at it. Their committee is very busy. With regards to why the public didn't know, there was, I think, something we'll take a look at, but it's almost impossible to let people know everything all the time. Now with the electronic newsletter and other things, I think we're going to be able to address some of those, but you don't hit them all on this, right 100% of the time. So I think it's important to recognize that the council is now sending it back.
Anytime you make anytime you make a one-way street, it's very important to the people on that street. Everybody should be notified.
Councilor St. Laurent and then Councilor Hines.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm assuming that going back to the traffic and safety, I don't know if they're going to be holding a public hearing on it.
Yeah.
But will that come back to us again if they decide to keep it one way to continue the public, or another public hearing on it?
If I might, Your Honor, I believe it has to come back to either way, because if it comes back and they say that they would rescind their recommendation, then the City Council needs to dispose of this ordinance.
Right. But I'm wondering if it would come back, if they decided to keep it as a one-way street and send this ordinance back that way, would we have another public hearing?
I would defer to the City Attorney.
The ordinance is at third reading, so ordinarily there wouldn't be another public hearing. However, the council has the authority, if it chooses to hold one, to vote to have another public hearing.
I question that because the Traffic and Safety Committee has meetings at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's so difficult. People have to go to work, and I'm not sure whether a lot of them can make it to their public hearing. So I just question that I would like to see something like this come back to here, if possible, or the council, if it comes back as a one-way again, that the council do a public hearing, and I'm just voicing my opinion about that. So, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilor Hines?
Thank you, Your Honor. The Traffic and Safety Commission does hold site reviews, inviting all of the affected people in whatever area we are looking at changing any of the rules. We do operate a site review at 8 o'clock in the morning because many of our volunteers do have jobs, and they spend this time gathering information, then bringing back. On Tuesday we gather the information. Thursday we hold a meeting to decide how we're going to recommend this to the City Council, which has the final vote. So we are now here at the City Council for a final vote, either to table this issue or to pass it. My recommendation is to table it because given the numbers of people who have come forward after our site review, when they suddenly discovered what they were not aware of, I think they're entitled to another hearing. And we will, if the council so votes to table, we'll bring it back for another review of the whole situation and have a decision brought back to the council for whatever that issue is. There will be a public hearing on every site review on the Thursday following the site review on a Tuesday. So there'll be an opportunity for the public to appear. Normally it's at City Hall at 8 o'clock in the morning, and anyone interested can be there or be represented by petition or by a representative.
Councilor Whitehouse?
So the motion that's on the table now, and I'd like to ask the city attorney this, the motion that's on the table now does not mandate that this issue come back to the City Council for a final decision. Yes or no?
Yes, it does. That word's not in the motion, but it's an unavoidable implication.
Okay, thank you. Let the record show.
Councilor Pandelakis?
Yes, the motion was to table this and return it to the Traffic and Safety with a report back to the City Council. And if we choose to have a public hearing at that time, we can do so.
Are we ready for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Third and final reading of ordinance amending Chapter 7, Article 3, Section 7, period 330, no parking by the deletion of Pearl Street, westerly side, from Islington to Hanover Street.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I also would like to table that until the first issue is, E is taken care of.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Third and final reading of ordinance amending Chapter 7, Article 10, Section 7, period 1004 towing or immobilization of a motor vehicle for non-payment of parking fines. Councilor Marchant, would you like to make the motion?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Your Honor, could I?
City Manager.
Hold on a minute.
Just on Friday, the parking clerk asked me if I wouldn't request the City Council consider suspending rules to make a minor amendment to this ordinance at third reading. And the amendment would be that in the second sentence, the words "in excess" be replaced with "in the amount of," so that the ordinance would read, "At any time subsequent to the accumulation of unpaid parking fines in the amount of $125. And the reason that this is being requested is that the fines generally run in $25 increments, and if it reads in excess of 125, then that really means 150. And the intent all along was for it to be 125. So if the council, somebody on the council would consider making that.
So moved.
Sorry. So moved, indeed.
Okay.
Second the amendment.
Second, he did it. I'll second.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an amendment, isn't it? Right?
Motion to suspend the rules to amend.
He makes the motion. Move to suspend the rules. He's
That's
making the
right.
motion.
Okay.
That's right. Right. Very good.
And move to pass third and final reading as amended.
Very good. Any discussion on this? Everybody did I get a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion on this?
Just so that it's clear now, Your Honor, what I think the council has just done is they've amended it to read the way I read it, so that it will be unpaid parking fines in the amount of $125.
Very good. Yes, Councilor Marchant.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Just a quick question. The implication, whether it was intended or not, and this is where maybe the city manager or the city attorney could help clarify this. If the original intention of this was to basically require 6 $25 violations, then that would be the in excess. If the original intention was 5, and it was just a slight tweaking of the words to get to the original intent, I guess I just would like clarification as to whether the intent was 5 or 6. If there's any...
It was 5.
At the time that this first came from the administrative staff and parking, it was 5.
And this will accomplish just that? So.
Yes.
Thanks.
Any other discussion before the vote?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
I'd just like to make it clear that neither parking and traffic nor the Traffic and Safety or the Parking Committee made this decision. This was done by all 9 councilors.
All right. We all ready for the vote? We got you, John. We all ready for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Now we're down to letters, presentations, and communications of written communications and petitions. A letter from Janet Borney, I hope I pronounced that right. The Arthritis Foundation requesting permission to hold the annual Jingle Bell Run on Saturday, November 19th, 2005 at 10 a.m. Who would like to make the motion, Harold?
Move the city manager with power.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. A letter from Barbara Massa, Pro Portsmouth, requesting permission to hold the 2005 Snowflake Festival on Friday, December 2nd, 2005, and First Night Portsmouth 2006 on Saturday, December 31st, 2005. Councilor Farini?
Your Honor, I'd make a motion to refer this to the city manager with power.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed. A letter from James Anthony Hingman, Educational Books, Matthew and Michelle Worth, Peter Habney, Ballad Natalie, Jane Bison, Eileen McDonald, Jordan and Catherine Dennett, Jane Wright, and J.J. Stone, Steele and Stone, Audrey M. Quigley, and Keith Cooler, and Nicole Lapierre, opposed to the making of Pearl Street one-way northerly from Islington Street to Hanover Street.
Your Honor, I move that we accept this and place it on file.
Okay.
Second.
They've got a second. A discussion?
Your Honor, do you want me to send these over to the Traffic and Safety Committee?
Yes. I think that would be the proper place. Yeah.
All right.
Okay? Did you all hear that? Okay, very good. We all ready then for the vote?
That's part of the motion, right, Your Honor, to sign the traffic?
Part of the motion.
Now then, okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. A letter from Neil Turnquist, New Hampshire Public Interest Research Group, requesting permission to hold a visible event on Saturday, August 13th, 2005, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the corner of Market and Pleasant Street, next to the North Church. Councilor Hines?
Your Honor, might I address this briefly?
Yes.
These requests from people who seek to conduct expressive activities or make statements on public property are actually surprisingly complex. The way the First Amendment basically works is that once an area gets designated as a public forum, then the City Council, for example, could never say no to any person choosing to use that area for expressive conduct. Because of that, in these situations, it's actually quite simple for the council to trap itself by granting something that seems like good conduct. You would actually be compelled to later on grant what you might think is bad conduct. For these reasons, I called these people today to speak with them, because even within that First Amendment framework, the City Council always retains the authority to keep public sidewalks open for public travel. So what you cannot regulate, for example, in a public forum area, such as the front of the North Church, is the expressive conduct, but what you can regulate is whether or not anyone obstructs the passage of pedestrians in any way. So this document indicated that these people might want to be putting up benches or tables or something that seemed like it was in the area where you would have the authority to regulate. However, because of the complexities of the First Amendment issue and my desire to keep the council from being in a difficult situation, I simply asked them if they would agree not to put up any kind of structures which would obstruct pedestrian travel. And they said yes, they would. They would agree not to do that. That being true, then the area where they wish to operate and the conduct which they wish to follow is constitutionally protected. And there is really no need for the council to act on this. I have the assurances of this group from Erica Stace, S-T-A-A-S, the director, that they won't do anything that's disruptive to travel on the sidewalks, and the council can simply put this matter on file and their activity will be allowed.
Okay.
Very good. John, do you want to make the motion?
I think our attorney has already said exactly what I did. I'll accept this letter and place it on file.
All right.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. A letter from Joanna Lyons requesting that the City Council and the Planning Department review current ordinances regarding development in the Historic District Commission.
Your Honor?
Yes, Assistant Mayor.
In reading this, I'd like to refer something to the city manager, city attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Is my understanding, Bob, that the requirements concerning the views is regulated by the state and not the city?
I would actually state it this way. To my knowledge, there is no law in the city of Portsmouth, nor any law in the state of New Hampshire, which protects anyone's view.
So what she's asking for here is something we cannot grant or cannot go forward with.
Unless the city council wished to try to find a way to pave new ground.
But there is no ordinance citywide or statewide that protects a person's
No,
view.
basically the only way in New Hampshire, to my knowledge, that a person can protect their view is to purchase an easement or something to that effect from the people who might block that view to prevent it from being blocked.
Yes, our other attorney.
I'm merely acting as a city councilor. I'd move to accept and place on file.
Okay.
Could
Very good.
I ask that it be also sent to the Historic District Commission, a letter for their purview?
We already know that because we've had several examples come up that we know that we cannot, there's nothing we can do about a person's view. I think I'd like to maybe have a copy go to the planning department just so they have it on file.
Planning, and not the Historic District.
I have no problem. My motion is to accept and place on file. Were it to be filed with both of those agents or those commissions, that would be fine, though I did not ask in my motion that any action be taken other than that they be placed on file.
Did we get a second on this before discussion?
Second.
Very good. Councilor Pandalakis?
Yes, I'd like to ask the city attorney a question.
Mm-hmm. Bob?
Is there no way that this council could set up an ordinance of some type that would help these people to save their views and whatnot, or is it just something that just can't be done?
In this particular situation, it's too late.
Okay. How about in future situations?
It would be
Gotta
possible.
learn to deal with these lawyers.
Oh, you do okay. In my opinion, if the council wanted to get into this area, it's a complex area and there's policies on both sides. But I do think that if the council wanted to try to find a way to protect views, I do think the council probably has the authority to go that way. I do not know, however, of anyone in the state that has ever done it yet.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Whitehouse?
You know, I feel so sorry for this party that's owned this property since 1978 on Penn Hollow. All of a sudden, a developer's coming in and purchased the abutting property, and she's going to have her sunlight, her air, her visibility blocked. Now, this is not only happening on Penn Hollow Street, but it's happening all over the city, especially in the south end. Now, you know, the city is growing so fast, and there's so much development, and there's so much money coming into the city that the little person that's been here for years is getting, you know, just pushed to one side. And I can't believe that something, an ordinance, a regulation, or a resolution can't be passed that helps these people out and protects these people. I went down to that property. I was so concerned. But I found nobody there on a Sunday, and today I had no chance to get down there. But this is terrible. She's been there, a long-time resident, since 1978, and, you know, I'm asking my city attorney, isn't there something we can look into and have some control over this in the future?
I guess what I'm saying is, if the council wanted to look into that kind of an ordinance, it would be possible, in my view, for the council to adopt some law along those lines. However, it will be too late to apply in this particular case.
I realize that. But, you know, I'm very concerned about what's going on in the city and the future development that's taking place, especially in the south end and little short streets, any place that has a water view.
Councilor St. Laurent?
Thank you, Ronna. Question to city attorney again. We have a height ordinance.
Yes.
Do we not?
The zoning ordinance regulates heights throughout the city.
that would be, like you said, would become complicated because we now have a height ordinance. Now we're going to say, no, you can't go into that. So I'm just wondering how that. I mean, I think this is terrible. These people have to suffer this way, but like you said, it would become complicated because we always have an ordinance for height. So.
Yeah, I couldn't actually even suggest sitting here right now without some thought and study how you might even accomplish your goal.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Councilor Reynolds?
Hearing what the city attorney says and just thinking about it for a few moments here, I can certainly appreciate how difficult, if not impossible, it would be to word an ordinance, a future ordinance for consideration by the city council that would actually talk about protecting or regulating views and blockage of views by future construction. However, it does, the point that the letter writer makes in the third paragraph, in which Councilor St. Laurent referred to just a moment ago in referring to the height ordinance, it seems to me, thinking about it here, that in terms of that perhaps there is something that, a way in which an ordinance, either an existing ordinance could be modified or perhaps a future ordinance could be conceived that would get at density on a block. And for that, because they mentioned about, well, if all we have is a height ordinance, then everyone sooner or later is going to build up to the height ordinance, and then we're going to have 100% massively filled blocks. So I think what I would like to request is if Councilor Farini would accept a friendly amendment to his motion, that we request the city planning department to think about this and perhaps provide a report back to the city council of possibilities that we could avoid the future effect of every building being built to the height ordinance, where we would have no variation in roof lines and 100% density in the blocks.
City manager?
Just if I would ask, if that was going to be in the form of a report back, I think it needs to come back from the city attorney's office, because I think it's home rule issues here. Do we have the ability to create this? I mean, we are creatures of the state, so he needs to make sure. So the planning department could give you an ordinance, but it may not test before any court. So my suggestion, if you are going to do this, it really needs, as the city attorney said, a lot of legal thought, because it may even need legislation. So I guess that's something that
certainly be willing to have it the planning department via the city attorney's office. Of course. And that's what proposed.
In particular, the way I understand what the city manager is saying is it's a tripwire. If it's a difficult take from a legal perspective, then perhaps on the decision-making tree, that's what the council needs to hear first, or know the extent of what the gyrations are from a legal perspective. If we ever cleared that hurdle, then you're in the world of probably a very extensive review by planning board, city planning, solicitation of design, urban design materials from other cities. I mean, it's an extensive technical thing, and so in the first instance, in the flow chart, I think city attorney and a review of what the legal issues are for us is probably the most instructive.
That makes sense to me. I'd be willing to propose that the amendment, that we request a report from the city attorney as to the legal feasibility of city action on this matter.
It's acceptable to the maker of the motion.
Very good. Okay, we all ready then for the vote here? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. The letter from Jennifer Slade, Treasy, requesting permission to hold the annual fall tag sale bazaar on Sunday, September 18th, 2005, on Market Street.
Your Honor, move to refer to the city manager with power.
Second.
Your Honor, I just want to make a comment, if I might. I would defer back to...
You're probably going to say the same thing as I am, John.
Well, then I'll defer to the city council member.
I'm not getting paid for that.
Well, I just want to bring, yes, you are.
Oh, okay.
Not as much, but what I would have to say is that there is one area that you should bring that note is that it's going to be actually on Market Street, but we're closing the street anyways for the Criterion race, the bike race. So there was a suggestion. I know Jennifer's here tonight. So I could work with her if this is approved with power and work through it to see how we can make it happen.
Yes, I was going to almost say the same thing, John, but I just question moving out of the parking lot, which they've had for years, onto Market Street with the large attendance of crowd we expect at this bicycle race. I was wondering what problems that would create. That's the only thing I'm thinking about.
Actually, if I might, Your Honor, would free up the parking lot. And so, because really, Market Street's going to be unusable because you physically aren't going to be able to come in that way.
Be able to get into the parking lot, though, would you?
Well, no, you could get in through both.
Okay, all right.
Right, and come up Market, and then probably, we'll have to take a look at it. But I would suspect that people can go in and out from the parking lot, but we'll have to take a look at the police department.
Okay, John.
Councilor St. Laurent?
Thank you, Your Honor. In this letter, it said that barriers to the street are put in place and cars are towed from the street. Once again, I think I've brought this up before. I don't want to see cars towed at the owner's expense because they have a right to park there. I mean, they could be notified beforehand. Or
there will be
their cars, but I don't think we should be moving them and then charging them to move their car when.
We strive, if I might, Your Honor, we strive to, in events such as this, is to, like with Market Square Day, and it's a point that I'll bring up at our next meeting with the Criterion, to find a place that we can tow people to and have them pick up their car like we do with Market Square Day. So I'll talk to them about that, and it's a good point.
I don't know whose expense it would be, but I don't want to see it at the.
Well, we're going to have to talk about that. I know with Market Square Day, we do. What happens is they do get the tow company to do it at cost in some instances, and so what we usually do is tow the cars to the back of near the fire station, and people pick them up.
Okay.
I need to talk to the organizer of the Criterion to see what we're going to do on that.
Okay. Thank you, Ron.
All right, we are ready for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Letter from Neil Rhodes thanking the City Council for their generous contribution of $10,000 to support our efforts to preserve and enhance the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. Councilor Marchant?
I move to place on file, keep it simple as that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Now we're down to the city manager, and John has 2 items that require action.
Thank you, Your Honor. Excuse me. The first item deals with a request to set a public hearing for a hazardous mitigation plan. As you recall, back in April, you authorized me to send this plan to the Federal Emergency Management Agency for their approval. The plan has been approved by FEMA, but as part of the regulations, we have to hold a public hearing on this plan and approve it. So my suggestion is that we do that on August 15th, and I'll invite the fire chief to be here to make a presentation.
Just one question, Your Honor.
Yes, Councilor Whitehouse, and then Councilor St. Laurent.
Yeah. I'm talking in reference to what the city manager just stated. We'll just have a public hearing, and then there'll be a final vote. There won't be any first or second or third reading.
No.
Okay.
I'm just going to make the motion, Your Honor.
Okay.
City Council schedule a public hearing on the attached plan for 2005 for the August 15th council meeting.
Do I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed.
Thank you, Your Honor. The next item deals with the poll license. Pretty straightforward. Request for poll license agreement 63-426. The memorandum and the attached pictures are pretty self-evident.
Do I have a motion?
Your Honor, move to approve the request from PSNH for the poll license agreement 63-426 as recommended by the Public Works Department.
second. Do I get a
Second.
second? Okay. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Your Honor, that's all I have for action items. I do have some informational items. One is the change in curbside collection of recyclables. As I've indicated in my comments, I will be authorizing, unless I hear differently tonight from the City Council, to proceed with in-house collection of curbside recyclables. As you can see from my memorandum, the Waste Management has asked for a $105,000 increase in our contract. And in discussing this matter with the Public Works Director and other staff, we believe that we can have a savings where we had a budgeted amount in the book of $213,000, and from that budgeted amount, we actually could have a budgeted savings of $22,000, which would mean an actual savings of $127,000. If I were to stay with Waste Management, I'd need to come back to the City Council for a supplemental appropriation of $105,000, which we didn't think was appropriate at this time. The staff went back to the drawing board, looked at what we could do. We believe and I outlined it, and Steve has outlined it in a comprehensive memorandum, that we can do this in-house. The other thing I would have to say is that the service has not been the best lately from Waste Management. It's been spotty at best. As you recall, we did have Coastline, which was another vendor who won the bid last time, a year prior to the bid going to be rebid. Waste Management, which is a multinational company, basically bought Coastline, and the competition is gone. So this is our option. We believe that we can do it in a way that is beneficial to our citizens. So, in discussing this with the City Attorney's Office, because of the way our charter is written, the appropriation is there. It's an administrative matter. So, if anybody has any questions, either tonight, feel free to ask, or over the next week or so, feel free to call me. One thing I just want to mention is that when you look at the number on the additional positions, the 2 truck drivers, it includes benefits, and benefits include medical, FICA, retirement, workers' compensation, all those things. That's not salary. That includes benefit. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And we're very conservative in it, because I asked Steve to, go to the higher end of everything, to make sure that we're doing apples to apples, so that, as a public agency, we're not, we even put in the amortization of the vehicles over 3 years. We're getting 2 used vehicles. So we believe it's a good way to go, and is beneficial to the taxpayer.
Councilor St. Laurent?
Just a quick question. So you're going to the high part of it. It could be less than this.
Oh, yes. We believe it will be, but I wanted to put every number in there we could, because I didn't want to show you a savings that was not extremely conservative.
Is it possible, when you get the figures, that
we'll
see the figures on just for...
Yeah, when we get through, and when we get probably 6 months of operation under our belt, we'll probably come back and give you an update as to how it's going. Because we also are getting revenues where we never did before. We'll be getting on the revenue side. We have Silka's made some good contacts and negotiated some contracts relative to. So you'll see on the revenue side that we have money come back, but we didn't even include that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You didn't include the revenue. Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Assistant Mayor?
Thank you, Your Honor. John, I think this is a great idea, because with the request from, well, not the request, but the demand from Waste Management for a 26% increase, we would be paying $318,300.
Correct.
And by doing it ourselves, we probably will come in under $200,000, which is a big, big difference. And I would think probably be a lot more efficient, too, from the service that we've been having up our way.
Yeah, the service has been spotty.
Yes, Councilor Reynolds?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This certainly, for the reasons already cited, it certainly does seem like a good idea. And perhaps the city manager could just comment on this. It also seems to me that, again, that he's been very conservative in the figures on the revenue side of what we can expect for our recycling. He's use the tonnage of recyclables collected in calendar year 2004, and it would seem to me that if we have an in-house capability that we might be able to actually do some things to increase the rate of recycling, perhaps generate even more revenue for the things we collect.
And that will happen like anything else, like with the parking garage, and I think we need a year of statistics to show where we're at. Yeah.
Councilor St. Laurent?
And quick note, I hope the people out there realize that under this proposal, the more they recycle, the more money we save, because now if it's in-house, we really can save some money because we're not under contract. So I would hope the people out there would try to recycle more than ever now when we get into our own program. So I think this is going to be great. Thank you.
Yes, I take it's just discussion, no vote needed or anything.
Just moving on to a couple other items. As part of my goals for the year, we started the electronic community newsletter. I gave you a hard copy in your packet. Clearly, if there's any, you can sign up by going on cityportsmouth.com and going and clicking on and making the sign up through putting in your email address, and we'll be putting the community newsletter out on the second and fourth Wednesdays. So if you think of anything that's appropriate or that we've missed that should go in the newsletter, please remind us and we'll try to get it in.
Councilor Whitehouse?
Just one comment, Your Honor, and I don't want to make a big issue out of it, but the street closures for Friday night, they had a rock group, amplified music. The speakers were probably anywhere from 5 to 6 feet high. If I had a decimal meter and I held it anywhere in that area, I think the needle would have jumped right off the gauge. The amplification was unbearable. The people who were down there socializing, trying to converse with one another, had to leave their tables and leave their coffee and go inside. You know, I realize that some of these rock and rap groups have to amplify their music, but many people are talking about it. The news releases that we saw the next day in the paper is from a certain element, but the elderly, the older, the ones who come downtown to relax at a table with a cup of coffee, it was very, very nerve-wracking. And I realize it only lasted for 2 hours from 7 to 9, but I looked up at the steeple, and I could have sworn the steeple swayed.
Was that Saturday night, Councilor?
Friday night.
Friday night. I just want to make sure that wasn't an issue with the newsletter. Yeah. Was that wasn't a comment to the newsletter? That was something separate that you're making a comment on, right?
I'm reading the news release that appeared the next day in the paper.
Okay. But it had nothing to do with the electronic newsletter?
No, nothing to do with it.
Make sure.
But you did comment about the street closures, when they would be and everything like that.
Okay.
But the amplification was unbearable.
Yeah, I'll talk to Barbara Massar. I'll give her a call tomorrow.
And I looked around to see if I saw anybody that I recognized. I didn't.
I will make a phone call tomorrow. The last item, which I'm very pleased to share with you, is that Standard & Poor's rating service has raised the city's bond rating to AA from AA minus based on the city's continued strong financial performance. We sold bonds, and our average interest rate was about 3.95% over 20 years. In addition, we received a discount, which means that instead of having to pay back the $10 million, we only have to pay back $9,900,000. So, we are on top of the excellent interest rate. We got what they call in the industry as a premium, and the premium allows us to discount, and so our actual repayment will be on $9,900,000. That's based on our excellent rating. This is, I would like to say, the highest bond rating the city's ever had, and it goes to show that the financial practices that the City Council has put into place over the last few years has been recognized by the major rating agencies, Standard & Poor's and Moody's. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Good job, John.
One more item.
Yes, Councilor
This is
Whitehouse.
informational, and I think the public and the City Council should know that our city manager represented us in a fine, distinguished, honorable way at the last rally held last week in front of Gate 1 over at the shipyard. We were there for 3 hours waiting for the 2 BRAC commissioners to go by in their van, and when they finally did show up, there was probably at least 3,000 to 3,500 yellow shirt retirees, employees, and people that was very concerned about the closure of that shipyard. So I just like the public to know that our city manager was representing us finally very well.
Thank you.
We've got to go back to written presentations and letters because we had a late one coming in.
But I should, yeah. The one that is that we should have probably acted on was the Wendy Lull from the Seacoast Science Center. She asked for permission to conduct their what do they call it?
Regatta.
Their Model Yacht Club Regatta on August 7th.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I thought anybody having requests had to be in 120 days before it was going to be done. We made a policy, didn't we?
If I might, Your Honor, that was a street closing policy, Counselor. That wasn't for the types of things that we're seeing here. They're not closing any streets on this. That was a street closure policy.
Well, even though it's not a street closing policy, it should be a policy for everything that we know in advance that it's going to happen.
I don't disagree with you. She made a mistake.
Yeah. Is there a motion on the floor, Your Honor?
Yes, there is. Did I get a second? Is there a motion
There's
on
no
the
motion
floor?
on the floor.
To refer to
Okay,
the city manager with power.
very good. Do I get a second? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That takes care of John. John, does that
That's
take
it,
care
Your
of
Honor.
you?
Unless
Okay.
there's something else.
See, they're going to have this August 7th. We don't usually do things like that, but, you know, it was just oversight on their part that they didn't get it to us before. Down to the mayor, and I got quite a few things tonight I want to talk to you, but who said the first one is considerations on appointments. Library trustee, Kevin LaFawn. Consideration for the Portsmouth Housing Endowment Fund Advisory Board, Stephen H. Berg. Consideration for the Zoning Board of Adjustment, Stephen H. Berg, who will be going on as a regular member. He's been an alternate. Consideration of the Planning Board, Anthony D. Civillo. He's got quite a resume there attached to it. Consideration for the Citywide Neighborhood Committee is Robin McIntosh. To be voted on. Cable Television and Communication, Kathleen H. Pierce. Does somebody want to bring a motion forward?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? To be voted on, Cable TV, Gene Fisk.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? To be voted on for the Peddler, D.H. Banks.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That takes care of applications. The first ones that I read, if in for consideration, if anyone, counselor, has a problem, you have 2 weeks to come up and see me before it goes on the agenda for a vote. Okay? Now we're down to something that I just felt we needed very much because there's so many things that are taking place under the cable TV right now. And in consideration of the volume and the complexity of work, which will be facing the Cable Television and Communication Commission in the foreseeable future, because you've got Verizon, you've got Comcast, I am recommending to the City Council that there be an ordinance amending to allow the creation of an alternate member for that commission. The alternate member will be able to vote at any time when the 5 regular commissioners are not all able to vote for whatever reason. Attached hereto, please find a copy of the proposed ordinance amendment. I am recommending that the council vote to bring this ordinance amendment in for first reading at the next regular council meeting.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Yes, just,
Yes, Harold.
since we're going to make a change on this ordinance, and I've thought about this for quite some time, an important committee such as this, I still feel that there should be staggered terms, so you always have an experienced person on this commission. In the next year or 2 years, we're going to have to be making some very important decisions. And if we lose one of these people who has to resign because of a job relocation or because of family issues, we're going to have to appoint somebody else. And all I'm thinking about, this is a commission that should have staggered terms, so there's always experience.
Bob?
Your Honor, what this ordinance does to try and cover the situation described by Councilor Whitehouse is that when the ordinance was first created, even though all the terms are for 3 years, when the ordinance was first created, there were 3 commissioners appointed for 3 years and 2 appointed for 2 years. And then afterwards, they're all 3 years. And that creates a stagger. So that there really should never be a point in time when all the commissioners' terms expire.
So the way it is now, you could lose all 3 commissioners.
You could lose 3, but not 5.
Okay, all right. Okay, I just want to make sure that the ordinance is written like that.
Assistant Mayor Grasso?
Yes, Your Honor, the additions to the ordinance are in bold type, and it says the alternate commissioner shall be entitled to attend all commission meetings. Shouldn't we say the alternate commissioner shall be required to attend all meetings?
Could. That's a good idea.
Or just shall attend.
Or shall attend?
Shall attend, right. Because a lot of alternates don't realize that.
Yes, this makes it seem like they have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
They really need to be there because sometimes they don't even know ahead of time if someone's going to step down.
Right, right.
So shall attend.
Bob?
Sure, Your Honor. It's,
Okay.
If you prefer,
Okay,
you can have that change made in
all right.
the city clerk's office.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. So, did we take a vote on this yet? No, we didn't. Any other discussion on this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're down to, I have had a lot of notification from different councilors saying that they are not getting invitations or do not know what's going on the mayor's desk. So I'm going to bring you right up to speed here. And August 5th, 2005, the Russian group is coming in. There's 26 Russians that are coming in for the peace treaty celebration. I will be holding a reception in the Portsmouth room with goodies at noon. And you all are invited to come in, meet them. I know if Steve can be there, he'll be there because he works with that type. So anyways, I do hope you'll try and come. Don't forget, and that's underlined, please don't forget, August 4th, 2005, Congressman Bradley will be accepting our letters and petitions to the President, and that is going to be at 2 p.m. The petitions, we've received well over 8,000 petitions, and on the letters to the president, over 400. Real good letters. So we will be presenting this to Bradley, already packed and ready to go to Washington.
Your office, Your Honor? Is it in your office?
No, it'll be right in the port. No, it's going to be in here because they want to film. Right, John?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm sorry. It'll be in here, Bill. Don't forget the military parade at 1 p.m. on Saturday, August 6th. If there's anybody here that cannot walk, you can call the number, and I think I gave you a copy of that in front of you, that you can call and you can be put in an antique car. Then on Saturday, August 13th, the picnic at Pease Air Force Base at 2 to 5 p.m. Save our Navy Yard. Don't forget to wear your yellow shirts, and this will be the last big affair. And all we can do is hope and pray that that the president does not vote to close our Navy Yard. Yes, Harold.
What's the location of that picnic over there? Is it by the Red Hook area?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where they're mowing the lawn. Where if you go by now, you'll see they're mowing.
I know it is.
Yeah. And just for the, if I might, Your Honor.
Right.
The actual action that will happen is the week of August 22nd. The BRAC Commission it won't be going to the President until September, but the BRAC Commission will be, if there's going to be a vote to take the shipyard off the list, it will be the week of August 22nd. There are 5 commissioners that need to vote to take the shipyard off the list. If it's taken off the list, then that, along with all the other BRAC recommendations, is sent to the President in September, and then from there, the President then moves it to the Congress for their approval, or the President has the right to send the entire thing back to the BRAC Commission for, again, to review. But the step is probably, the key date is probably the week of August 22nd, where we will know if we are taken off the list or not.
And I do want to state here and now, I want to thank all of the people, every city, town, throughout the state has written letters, and I do want to thank them. I really do. Concord, Dover, all of them, Manchester, and right up the whole state. And we did receive a lot from Maine. So I do want to thank the people for taking the time to do this, and they all care. They truly care. The last thing that I have on here is we all received a letter from Police Commissioner John D. Kelly, and it was a letter regarding a supplementary budget, and you all had his letter, right? You all got his letter? Okay. Now, I'd like to, I'd really like to place your supplementary budget request on the City Council agenda of August 15th for discussion purposes only. As you may be aware, any supplementary budget appropriation is governed under Section 7, period 14-, amendments to budget after adoption. No appropriations will be made for any proposal not included in the annual budget as adopted unless voted by a 2/3 majority of the council after a public hearing held to discuss said appropriations. The council shall, by resolution, designate the source of any money so appropriated. If the City Council decides to proceed with any supplementary appropriation for the Portsmouth Police, it must be done in accordance with the city charter, which you can see, requires a public hearing. What's your wish?
Is that a motion, Your Honor?
I didn't pass my gavel.
No.
I'll
I think
pass-
I saw you pass it, Your Honor. I think I saw it.
Okay, all right.
Is that a work session?
No. She passed the gavel. That's all right. So I'll second that motion, Your Honor.
Harold says it's all right. Yeah, pass that to Joanne. We'll keep everything copacetic.
Question, Your Honor, you make the agenda for each meeting in consultation with the city manager, do you not? So
All right.
I don't know if the motion
Councilor Whitehouse's
necessary.
sentiment, it doesn't seem necessary, you're just notifying us that you're going to put it on the agenda.
All right. Everybody happy with it, though? Okay. Even
Your Honor?
you.
Okay, as long as it's done.
Sure.
Bill,
Just wanted
Bill?
Should it be a work session first on
Well,
it?
you can decide that at the 15th.
At that
The
meeting, okay,
15th.
all right. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Very good then. All right. So, that takes care of the mayor, I think. I know I put a lot of paper in front of you, but, I'm sorry. I just wanted you to know what was going on. Okay, now we're down to, the assistant mayor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a message for the press release, and I have copies for you afterwards. The results of the city manager's evaluation, and this is done on a yearly basis. The committee consisted of the mayor, Councilor Farini, and myself. This evening, the City Council concluded its annual evaluation of City Manager John Bahinkle's job performance over the past year. It reviewed all aspects of his duties as City Manager, including but not limited to general administration, administrative management, program responsibilities, public policy responsibilities, relationships, personal skills and traits, goals. The City Council finds that the City Manager's overall performance continues to be excellent to exceptional in all categories. And we're very pleased, John, that you have such a, City Council has voted a good evaluation for you once again.
Thank you.
And thank you, John, for being my rock. I need somebody by my side. I get into too much trouble. Thank you, Joanne. All right, now we're down to,
Your Honor?
yeah.
Should we accept the report?
Should be part of the
from
motion.
the assistant mayor?
Yes.
You want
From her committee?
I make a motion that the council accept the evaluation.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. You're in, John.
Thank you.
All right, now we're down to Councilor Hines, and he's going to speak about Traffic and Safety Committee.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Traffic and Safety Committee has submitted the minutes of their last meeting, and I move that we accept and place on file the minutes of the Traffic and Safety Committee meeting held July 14, 2005.
All in favor?
Aye.
Councilor Whitehouse? Sorry,
No, Mayor, come on.
Councilor St. Laurent.
Not that I didn't read these before, but I really pay attention to these more as per the city manager on one of the last meetings we had. And in going through this, and I want to make sure that, and I want to highlight that, on the Sherman Road area where they're going to just redesign the through traffic situation from 33, and it designates that the neighborhood would be involved. It's a very important exit for us, and I want to make sure that the traffic and safety does, in fact, let the neighborhood know and be in on that particular situation. So I just hope that the committee knows this. So I am paying attention now. I'm going to read this really in detail now and make sure before I vote what I'm voting for.
Good for you, Bill.
So thank you, Your Honor.
That's why you're sitting there.
And I want to make sure that they do, that in fact do, because it is important, that extremely important part of that neighborhood.
Very important.
Thank you.
I totally agree. I still wish we could get another way out for them people over there. I don't like that just one way out. you know. Maybe sometime, John, we could work on that, do you think? Oh, I'm sorry. Bad situation. Okay, so, now, did we take the vote on traffic and safety? No. Am I got a second? Okay, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? No miscellaneous?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have some
gee,
miscellaneous.
I thought it'd be Harold. Okay, Councilor Vanderlocken.
Yes, I would just like to clarify something that's occurred since we have had the problem over the boards that we are appointing. At our last meeting and in our minutes of our public comment session, Mr. Beckstead said that he had never submitted an application. He had always submitted a letter and been appointed. And due to our city clerk's good records that she keeps, you will all find that there was an application made out May 16, 2002 and turned in. I just want to clarify this so that people will not think that certain people can write letters and other people have to make applications. Everybody has to.
Thank you, Councilor. Okay, any other miscellaneous? Now we're down to a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?